Chapter 6. Shadow Work and Transmutation. Inner Child Dialogue. By doing shadow work, we learn that every single emotion and wound that we possess has a gift to share with us. Alethea Luna. What is your shadow? In terms of shadow work, your shadow is the drug addiction you keep secret. It's the bottle of vodka in your purse. It's the text you sent to your ex. It's the anger and hatred you feel towards others. It's the lies you tell others and yourself. It's the sex addiction that keeps you anchored to your lower chakras, blocked and unable to love yourself. So, when you integrate your shadow, that means you accept all of these nuances about yourself and realize that those shadows are part of your past, present, and future. Once you accept those shadows, that energy will transmute into the butterfly wings that have taken so long to sprout. Each time you transmute your shadow, another metamorphosis occurs, and you become one step closer to pure authenticity. Shadow work is a powerful tool for unlocking the authenticity that has been suppressed below the surface. Integrating your shadow is the key to knowing who you are authentically at your core. This is the epitome of self-actualization and opens the door to authentic engagement and transmutation. It involves bringing to light the unconscious aspects of ourselves, emotions, fears, and unresolved wounds that we have repressed or avoided. Davis, 2023. These shadow aspects often dictate our behaviours, reactions, and even the decisions we make without our conscious awareness. Shadow work is about reclaiming these hidden parts of ourselves, acknowledging them and integrating them into our conscious experience. By doing so, we free ourselves from the unconscious influences that can limit our potential. Shadow work is essential for authenticity because it helps us move beyond self-sabotaging behaviours, breaking free from patterns that no longer serve us. Suppressed emotions and fears can become ingrained in our psyche, often emerging in the form of triggers, anxiety, or reactions that seem out of proportion to the situation at hand. These buried wounds can shape our self-esteem, relationships, and sense of identity. If left unexamined, they continue to govern our lives, holding us back from stepping into our fullest expression of self. Facing our shadows is a path towards spiritual freedom. When we stop denying or hiding from our fears, we can embrace them as part of our human experience. Through this acceptance, we reclaim our power. The act of shadow work ultimately leads to greater self-love as we learn to embrace all parts of ourselves, even those we once deemed unacceptable or unlovable. By integrating the shadow, we allow ourselves to become whole, healed, and fully aligned with our authentic selves. Inner Child Dialogue. One of the most profound methods for engaging in shadow work is through healing the inner child. The inner child represents the part of us that holds memories of our past, especially the formative experiences from childhood that shaped our emotional landscape. These early experiences, both positive and negative, leave an imprint on our subconscious, influencing how we interact with the world as adults. Often, the inner child holds the keys to past traumas and unresolved wounds. When we experience emotional pain or neglect as children, we may not have the emotional tools or maturity to process these events. As a result, these wounds are buried deep within us, where they continue to affect us in adulthood. They can manifest in our relationships, self-esteem, and emotional responses. The beauty of inner child healing is that it allows us to reconnect with the parts of ourselves that are innocent, vulnerable, and pure. These parts, though often hidden under layers of defense mechanisms, long for love, validation, and understanding. Through dialogue with the inner child, we can uncover the source of our emotional pain and begin to heal these wounds. By acknowledging and nurturing this wounded part of ourselves, we reclaim our innocence and allow the joy and creativity of our inner child to flourish once again. Case study: using shadow work to heal your inner child. Let's take the story of Layla, a successful woman in her late 30s who always described herself as independent, driven and emotionally self-sufficient. On the surface, she had it all: a stable job, an active social life, and a polished public image. But underneath, Layla constantly found herself feeling anxious in relationships and chronically afraid of abandonment. Every time someone got too close, she would either push them away or become overly needy, fearing they'd eventually leave her. At first, Layla thought this was just her personality, but after repeated patterns of emotional pain and failed relationships, she turned inward and began working with a therapist who introduced her to shadow work and inner child healing. During one guided meditation, Layla was asked to visualize her inner child. What emerged was a vision of her 5-year-old self, sitting alone in her childhood bedroom, clutching a stuffed animal and waiting for her parents to come home. Her father had left when she was young, and her mother, although present, had been emotionally unavailable, often dismissing her feelings with phrases like, "You're being too sensitive," or "Stop crying, it's not a big deal." That was the breakthrough. Layla realized that her adult self was still operating from the pain and fear of that small, ignored child. She had spent decades trying to appear strong because no one had ever made her feel safe enough to be soft. Her fear of abandonment wasn't irrational. It was the unresolved wound of a child who never learned what emotional security looked like. Through regular journaling, inner child dialogues, and self-soothing practices like affirmations and safe touch, placing her hand on her heart during difficult moments, Layla began to reparent herself. She offered her inner child what she never received: unconditional love, presence, and gentle reassurance. Slowly, the panic around relationships began to ease. Her adult relationships improved, but more importantly, her relationship with herself transformed. This case reminds us that shadow work isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about loving what's been hidden. And when we dare to revisit those early wounds with compassion instead of shame, we don't just heal, we liberate. Techniques for engaging with your inner child. There are gentle, supportive techniques that can help you begin the tender process of healing your inner child. Each one is designed to create a safe, loving space where your inner child feels seen, heard, and truly held. This is not a journey to be rushed. Instead, it is an invitation to move slowly, with patience, compassion, and deep listening, allowing your inner self to feel supported every step of the way. As you begin to reconnect with and care for this vulnerable part of yourself, you naturally release old wounds and defenses that no longer serve you. In their place, a deeper sense of truth emerges. Healing your inner child not only brings emotional relief, but it will also free you to live more authentically, with an open heart and a clearer sense of who you truly are. Visualization. Visualization is a gentle yet powerful way to reconnect with your inner child. It will allow you to bridge the gap between your present self and the child within who still longs to be acknowledged, comforted, and loved. 1. Begin by closing your eyes and taking a few deep, calming breaths. Imagine yourself in a peaceful, safe space, perhaps a sunlit garden, a cozy room, or a place from your childhood that brought you comfort. Let this space feel warm, secure, and welcoming. 2. Now, gently invite your younger self to appear. See them as clearly as you can. Look at their face, their posture, perhaps even the look in their eyes. Notice how they carry their emotions. You might see a child who feels joyful, curious or hopeful, or one who is scared, lonely or misunderstood. Whatever arises, simply observe with loving presence. 3. Welcome your inner child with tenderness. Kneel down to their level. Offer your hand or a gentle embrace. Let them know you are here now and you are listening. Ask softly, "How are you feeling? What do you need from me? What do you wish someone had told you back then?" 4. Allow the conversation to unfold naturally, without judgment or pressure. This is not about fixing, but about honouring and about showing up for the parts of yourself that once had no voice. Let them speak. Let them be held. Over time, these visualizations can lead to profound shifts. As your inner child feels more seen and supported, layers of self-protection will begin to soften. You may find yourself living with more openness, vulnerability and truth. This is how visualization becomes more than a healing tool. It becomes a pathway to deeper authenticity, helping you reclaim the essence of who you really are beneath the wounds. Reparenting. Reparenting is the sacred act of becoming the loving, wise, and nurturing presence you may have needed when you were young. It means stepping into the role of your own inner caregiver, someone who shows up consistently with patience, compassion, and unwavering support. At its heart, reparenting is not about blaming the past. It's about healing what was missing by offering yourself the care and validation you may not have received. Clark, 2022. It begins with a simple intention: to listen to your inner child with kindness and to respond with love. You might start by using affirmations or gentle self-talk, speaking to your younger self as you would to a beloved child. You are safe now. I see your pain. You are worthy of love just as you are. These words, when offered regularly and sincerely, can begin to repair deep, emotional wounds. Reparenting also includes setting healthy boundaries, prioritizing your needs, and making choices that honour your well-being. These include all acts that teach your inner child that they are no longer alone and never again powerless. As you continue this nurturing relationship, something beautiful happens. The frightened or neglected parts of you begin to soften. You build trust within yourself, and in that trust, you uncover a more grounded, emotionally balanced version of who you are. Reparenting helps you live not from old scripts of fear or lack, but from a place of wholeness. It is through this process that you reclaim your authenticity, liberating your voice, your joy, and your truth from the shadows of the past. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a profound act of release, one that gently untangles the emotional knots tied deep within the inner child. It's not about excusing what was harmful or pretending that pain didn't occur. Rather, it's about setting yourself free from the burden of carrying that pain any longer. Many of us unknowingly carry guilt, shame, or resentment from childhood toward ourselves, our caregivers, or circumstances that shaped our earliest years. These emotions, when left unhealed, can echo through our adult lives, affecting how we see ourselves and how we relate to others. Inner child healing invites you to begin the sacred work of forgiveness. Start by offering it inward. Speak gently to yourself. You can say, "I forgive you for not knowing what you didn't know. I forgive you for the times you were just trying to survive." These words soften the self-blame that often lingers long after childhood has passed. Next, consider the people who may have hurt you, perhaps out of their own unhealed wounds. Forgiveness here is not a gift to them, but to your soul. It's a way of saying, "I will no longer let this pain define me." This process may take time, and that's okay. Forgiveness is not a moment. It's a journey of peeling back the layers of hurt, honouring your truth, and choosing peace. As you forgive, you create spaciousness within. The tight grip of old wounds loosens, making room for healing, compassion and growth. In that spaciousness, your true self begins to emerge, free from the weight of old stories and rooted in clarity, strength and grace. Through forgiveness, you can reclaim your wholeness, and in doing so, you will step more fully into your authenticity, no longer defined by pain, but by the light that remains. Play. Play is one of the purest expressions of the inner child. It is freedom without fear, joy without agenda. Reconnecting with this playful, spontaneous energy can be one of the most powerful and healing parts of your journey. Inner Child Healing, 2024b. When we were young, play came naturally. It was how we explored the world, expressed emotions, built connections, and imagined new realities. But for many, that joy was interrupted by trauma, by shame, or simply by being told to grow up. The result is often an adult who has forgotten how to delight in the simple, sacred act of play. Healing the inner child invites you to return to these moments of innocence and joy. It may begin with something as simple as picking up a paintbrush, dancing barefoot in your living room, singing out loud to your favourite song, or walking through nature with childlike wonder. These are not frivolous activities. They are medicine for the soul. Through play, you reconnect with a part of yourself that is unburdened, imaginative, and alive. You affirm that joy is not a reward. It is your birthright. In these moments, laughter becomes a bridge to healing, and creativity becomes a way to speak to your soul without words. Allow yourself to be silly, to explore, to not care how it looks. These experiences begin to melt away layers of rigidity and self-censorship, making space for your true self to rise. More vibrant, more open, more real. As you give yourself permission to play again, you can reclaim a vital part of your being. The inner child, once silenced or suppressed, begins to feel safe enough to come alive. And with that aliveness comes a deeper authenticity, the kind that springs not from perfection, but from presence, joy, and wholehearted living. Practical exercise. A guided visualization to connect with and heal your inner child. 1. Find a quiet, comfortable space where you can relax without interruptions. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths, allowing your body to settle into a relaxed state. With each exhale, release any tension or stress. Visualize yourself as a child standing before you in a safe and peaceful place. 2. Notice the details of your younger self, how they look, how they feel, and what they might be thinking. Approach them with compassion, understanding that this child carries the essence of who you are. Ask your inner child what they need from you. What do they feel is missing? What pain do they carry? 3. Listen with an open heart, allowing any emotions to surface without judgment. As you listen, offer your inner child love, validation, and reassurance. Speak words of comfort and promise that you are here to protect and care for them. Imagine wrapping your inner child in a warm embrace, healing them with your love and energy. 4. When you feel ready, gently release the visualization, knowing that you can always return to this moment whenever you need to connect with your inner child. Journaling prompts for inner child dialogue. Journaling is a powerful tool for reconnecting with your inner child, a quiet invitation to listen deeply and respond with love. These prompts are designed to help you open a heartfelt dialogue with the younger you, gently uncovering memories, unmet needs, and sources of joy that still live within. Approach each question with tenderness and curiosity, allowing whatever arises to be met without judgment. This is your space to heal, to understand, and to come home to the truest version of yourself. What are the earliest memories that come to mind when you think of your childhood? Are there any moments that stand out as painful or unresolved? What does your inner child need from you right now? What would they say if they had the opportunity to speak to you openly? In what ways can you nurture your inner child today? How can you show them love, care, and acceptance? Reflect on a moment when you felt truly joyful as a child. What can you do to bring more of that joy into your adult life? By engaging in this dialogue with your inner child, you can begin the healing process that will allow you to transmute past pain into personal empowerment. Through shadow work and inner child healing, you will move closer to the self-love and spiritual freedom that await you on your journey of transformation to achieve greater authenticity.